Dude, Brad,
What's up?
dude, I just got back from this amazing vacation I just have to tell you about.
Yeah, dude, tell me about it.
Well, dude, like I didn't know where to go at first, so I decided, to take a little boat trip and just scaver around the seas for this like awesome island where I could just say, "Hey, I got the whole island to myself." But dude, so much better. It was a dark and stormy sea night, and I just come across this force field. I'm like, well, what's a force field doing in the middle of the ocean? So I went through it, and there's just this beautiful island with all these beautiful badass Amazons who took really good care of me. And dude, I just had a great time, man. You should have been there. I can't believe you had to work.
Were they? Well, yeah, it sucks. It sounds like I missed out on this trip. Were they originally? I mean, were they nice to you when you got there? They were they hating on you or what? I mean,
Well, like it's like I don't think they see a lot of men, but I just won them over with my charm, so it was okay.
right on, dude. It sounds like a good freaking trip, man.
Yeah, dude, it was a blast. Even though I still wonder about a woman. Hmm.
What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Reel Hunting, where we hunt for the good reels so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad. The Britman's right over here, and today we are reviewing Wonder Woman, the original one from 2017, prior to the release of Wonder Woman 1984. So be sure to stick around. We're going to be reviewing that one when it comes out as well. It's going to be awesome, and should be fun. So if you guys like superhero movies, be sure to check out Jason Nike's channel, because starting March the 3rd, we're going to be joining him for Real Men, Real Movies, which is going to be a weekly commentary, mostly action, comic books, and things like that. It's going to be awesome. A weekly show. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you there. And lastly, if you have not seen Wonder Woman, or if you would like to revisit it but don't own it, you can locate this reel at HBO Max. Now, Brett, why don't you tell us a little bit about this thing?
Sure, absolutely, dude. Wonder Woman came out in 2017, which is directed by Patty Jenkins, and it stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, and Robin Wright.
Right, you are. So it's about what it's about is essentially is it's a young freaking Amazon princess living in a secret island in the ocean, who eventually the worlds collide as World War I's going on in the real world. Freaking ships and stuff are breaking the force field, and then that expands her horizons into the real world and to the real world war that is going on. And we have to see what kind of transpires from there. It's crazy. A lot of big ass freaking action sequences going on, and it's gonna be fun. So let's get into this bad boy. So Brett, what do you think about it? What's your positives here?
My positives. Well, let's go ahead and just give the biggest positive out of the way. The star of the show of Gal Gadot, who portrayed Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. Fantastic job. They nailed the look of Wonder Woman. And I feel like that was like the most like worrisome thing about Gal Gadot. Like, she's not the best representation of what Wonder Woman should be. Even though I loved the look, I loved her acting. She brought the character to life, and I just really don't understand the hate of Gal Gadot. Like, they say that anybody else could have played Wonder Woman, like a more muscular. But I thought Gal Gadot did a very amazing job as Wonder Woman, and I just really don't understand the hate.
I agree.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah, I figured this was one of my positives as well. So I wanted to just go ahead and say, yeah, man, I think she did a phenomenal job, and she's a good she was a good performance as well, I thought. And she really grounded, kind of she knocked this thing out of the park, from when she was first introduced in Batman v Superman, and then now her fully fleshed out movie here. I was a big fan of hers, and I thought she did great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you nailed it. Like, her performance in Batman versus Superman set up for this particular movie for her to shine even more. And I feel like Patty Jenkins did an amazing job of portraying Wonder Woman. And another character I thought she did a good job portraying too was Chris Pine's character of Steve. Steve is a very interesting character. Just him trying to teach Diana like the real ways of the world versus like what she believes in. And I just felt like just them going back and forth, just great stuff. And Steve was just a very good character, and he was very strong at the end of the movie too. Also, to go with that too, when we are talking about the island, the Amazon chicks were badass. Like did a great job making them look very fierce, dangerous, and just these great prideful warriors. And very great job on displaying that. And of course, my last good positive: every good movie and every good like character has their own theme song. And the Wonder Woman theme song is just so great because like when you play it, you immediately identify that's Wonder Woman. And that's almost very hard to portray like an actual theme song that goes with a certain character or a certain movie. And Wonder Woman just knocked it out of the park on that category.
Right, you are, and I agree. That song is freaking badass. Obviously, that was introduced as well in Batman v Superman. The name of that track is She With You by Hans Zimmer. Actually, did her song, not the whole movie,
See,
but
that
this
explains
song.
a lot.
And you can you obviously you can tell because obviously it's a badass freaking theme, and I love it. And it actually didn't come into this movie until pretty late in the flick, which was kind of cool. They saved it for when she really just freaking busted out and started doing badass shit there towards the towards the end of the second act. So I thought that was cool. That was they did a good job by doing that. But yeah, I mean, you hit it, man. All those things I love. Chris Pine I thought was great. He was a great addition to this. He had phenomenal chemistry with Gal throughout the whole movie. They obviously they had the most interesting parts of the movie, I think, whenever it was kind of showing Chris and Gal doing their thing off on the side, obviously it was a good chunk of the movie, but it was, that was, to me, was the most interesting aspect, was their adventure together. And they had a lot of good comedic elements too. Like when Wonder Woman is like, or when Chris is like, hey, who's your father? What's your father like? She's like, oh, I don't have a father. I was sculpted out of clay and brought to life by Zeus. And he's like, oh, really? That's neat.
Have you never met a man before? But what about your father?
I had no father. My mother sculpted me from clay, and I was brought to life by Zeus.
Well, that's neat.
I like that. That was good. One of the biggest things I liked was the cinematography. Along with that, the set design of both the 1918, I think is when it was set, 1918 time frame and stuff, with the war and everything going on, and the clothing designs were great as well. Not only from the costume design, not only from like the period piece clothes, you know what I mean, but also like the Amazons and all that stuff was fantastic, man. They looked great, and it was like, yeah, their designs were phenomenal, as was Wonder Woman. Of course, that was kind of set up in Batman v Superman as well. But again, it gets knocked out of the park. All the war stuff looks fantastic. And I love the set of the island. I love the set of like the trenches there later in the movie where that's all going on. All that stuff was fantastic. It was very well done. And I'm excited to see what I'm just excited to see what Patty Jenkins can bring for us in the future. Just with how she crafted this world together. Obviously, she's doing a Star Wars movie here in a couple of years, so we'll see how that goes. And obviously,
yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and then Wonder Woman 2, 84. We'll see how what we can find out about her at that point as well. But yeah, that stuff was great. It was an emotional movie too. You get Wonder Woman's trainer dying there at the beginning, and then obviously Chris there later in the movie, and it was very emotional. It was cool. And the first time, like you were saying earlier with the music. You mentioned how good her song was. I thought the music in general for this for this movie was great. Not only the Wonder Woman theme, but also like the themes that were playing there on the beach scene where they're doing the battle there, and also the first time we freaking see her like step out from the trenches and go down to war, like with the freaking, she just tears it up. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
One of the most badass moments, in my opinion, in the whole like DCEU that they're trying to formulate. I thought that was one of the best scenes.
Absolutely, man. And it was the music. It wasn't the Wonder Woman theme at that point. It was it was other music, and it was great stuff, man. Got me pumped, man. Got me jacked. But yeah, that's it, man. I could talk, more probably, but we'll move on to the mixed aspects.
All right. I only had a few mixed aspects where there were just like on the lines of between positives and negatives. The first one that really stood out to me as a mix, I just felt like for a single superhero movie, this movie was way too long. It was like about a 2 hour and 20-minute movie. Like too long for me. Like I understand why they did, so I just accepted it. But just to explain the origins of a superhero movie should take about like an hour 45, and just somewhere around there. But again, it's a mix. So because I did understand why they made it that long, just to explain the story, explain the origins and everything, and I thought that was good. And the villains were forgettable for the most part, like the General and Dr. Poison. Like I couldn't remember their names when they first appeared on screen, so I had to have them tell me again of who they were. So that's not great if you can't remember a good villain. Like the only one I remembered was Ares and who Ares was, and I thought he was displayed okay. I felt like he could have been a lot more eviler for being a god of war, but it is what it is. And my last mix, kind of like the same for forgettable villains, but the side characters, you don't remember their names, but they did play their roles very well, and they did a good job with their each individual roles to help build for Steve and Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman, and to make sure that they can do what they need to do to portray those characters on screen.
But you are. My biggest mix thing was the action shots, okay? Because I thought most of them were done very well. And overall, they were very compelling. They were very clear. You could see what was going on, which was nice. And it made Wonder Woman look badass, which is great. And the Amazons were badass, which is awesome. But there was a freaking heavy use of slow motion in this throughout, especially on the beach, but then also later when Wonder Woman's tearing shit up on the other side of the trenches. It's kind of the same thing there. A lot of slow motion. It really slows the fights down. I'm a fan of just fast-paced action scenes where you're just freaking like, I mean, obviously they all can't be like this, obviously, but like the John Wick stuff, it's fast. It's still yet clear. You know what's going on. Now this, I would rather have action like this with the slow motion than some of the quick cut actions you see in other movies, but it's still, it takes the movie down a little bit for me, but overall it was good. Another thing with the action scenes was some CGI was used pretty heavily in some spots, particularly in the last fight at the airport and stuff. You can kind of see where they're, the CGI is standing out, but it's fine. I mean, overall, I would say the actions lean more towards positive for me than a negative, but they're mixed nonetheless. That's all for me. That's all for you.
Okay. So you want to go ahead and go down to the negatives?
Let's do it.
Shoot, you pretty much just hit my biggest negative out of the whole movie of what you were describing as your mix. Way too many slow motion shots. So I'm not going to go dig deep into this negative because you pretty much just nailed it. I'd rather it be like, fast pace. Like not going too fast, but just, I like you that the John Wick, like it just goes really fast, but where you can keep up with it. And I feel like a lot of the scenes they went slow mo for Wonder Woman, they could have shot easily fast pace and not lose like the pace of the movie. So that was my biggest negative.
I agree. My biggest thing for me, you touched on it already, but I thought the villains in total, all the villains, I thought they sucked ass. They weren't interesting in the slightest. And I didn't care about what was going on with him in the slightest. Ares could have been cool, but we didn't know about his identity until the last bit of the movie, which is fine. I get you want to kind of build that up. But even then, he wasn't that compelling to me. He just kind of turned into a CGI freaking robot thing. It wasn't really a robot, but whatever it was, he's got his armor on and stuff. And then it wasn't compelling to me. As far as the villains go, I think that's what really holds this movie from being. This movie could almost be close to freaking 5 stars, almost if it had a very compelling villain, which it doesn't. So it's not going to be up there, obviously. And then again, kind of like you said, I think it is slow at times, and it has some pacing issues throughout, which kind of drags out the runtime. But yeah, at times you can really feel, like for instance, anytime the villains were so uninteresting, anytime it kind of switched over to them throughout the story, it kind of took me out a little bit. Like I was so into what Wonder Woman and Chris Pine were doing, Steve, and then it would cut over to the villains subplot kind of thing going on, and I was like, yeah, I'm not, it pulled me out each and every time. So both of those things kind of go together. It both slowed the movie down, and I didn't really care what the villains were doing because they weren't interesting. But that's it, man.
And you brought up an excellent point. The old cliche saying every great good guy or good girl needs to have a great bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ares could have been that great bad guy for Wonder Woman, but they just really missed out on that opportunity. So I'm actually going to sneak in that last negative in there because that was just an excellent point. Ares needed to be like that great bad guy to that great hero that we were introduced to, and they just missed the mark on that.
Right, you are. Yeah, overall, man, I dig it. I think it's very similar to Captain America, the Winter, not the Winter Soldier, the
First Avenger.
The First Avenger. It's very similar. I honestly think this does. You guys will hate me for this, but I actually kind of like this one more. I think just because it feels a little bit more fresh, I guess. Even though it came out after Captain America, but I just like Gal a lot. It's mostly due to her probably that I like it more. Because I think she did a really good job, and I don't know, I really like it. Maybe I know Brett's gonna get mad at me. Maybe we'll slash it out one of these days on these episodes.
That would actually be a very good slash it out because I almost feel the same way. I feel like Wonder Woman was just a tad bit better than Captain America: The First Avenger. Even though
that's surprising, man. I thought you were gonna get mad at me, man.
I was actually quite thinking once you brought up Captain America: The First Avenger, I'm like, you know what? That can actually be a really good comic book slash it out episode. So we're actually going to write that down because that would be a really fun episode to do.
Hell yeah, it would. All right, you ready to score this thing out?
I'm saying we're ready. So I am going to give this a 4 out of 5. Again, I really feel like with a great bad guy, I could have easily put this as a 4.5. But without that great bad guy, and the way too many slow-mo shots and just the okay side characters, a 4 out of 5 is still a great score. And somebody needs to go check on Gal Gadot and Chris Pine's spines and their backs for carrying this movie for the majority of the runtime.
They got that right, and the whole DC universe for that matter. But that's beside the point.
A good chunk of it.
I like it. A 4.0 for me as well. Again, good villain could have bumped this thing up to a 4.5, just like you said. 5 might be a little bit too crazy, but definitely a 4.5 if the villain was there. But they're not, so we won't get into that. Overall, good time. That's going to take us to the Tosche station, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we gotta go to the Tosche station to get some power converters. What that means is like just go out and buy this movie on Blu-ray, add it to your collection. You're not going to be disappointed, and you're really going to have a good time with this movie. What did you all think about Wonder Woman? Did you enjoy it like we did? And if that was a really strong movie to include in the DC universe, or were you one of those people that actually did not like Gal Gadot's portrayal as Wonder Woman and thought the movie was just okay? Let us know in the comments section down below, and let's just get that discussion rolling.
Right you are, and if you want to help us find the good reels, you can do so by finding us on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter, Spotify, and Apple Podcast for the longer episodes.
Absolutely. And of course, be sure to like our video, share our video, and subscribe to our video. All that helps the channel for us to grow and to continue giving you all more great content. And of course, ring that bell, ding, 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 so you know when the next video is up. Especially ring that bell, because very soon we will be doing the Wonder Woman 1984 movie review, and it will be a spoiler review. So again, hit that ring bell so you know when that video is ready.
Woo. All
Yes,
right, I
sir.
guess that's it, man. I guess we'll see you guys for Wonder Woman 1984 very soon.
See you later, guys.